Welcome to the JB's Powercast, where we talk about industry news, events, performance parts, trucks and accessories, shop talk, and we'll even do a little bench racing. The JB's Powercast starts now.
Hey there, and welcome to the JB's Powercast. Here with Corey, Sierra. We're happy to have Sierra back after her contract negotiations, like we discussed last time. I don't know if you noticed, Corey, but Sierra has a new vehicle in the parking lot.
No, I did notice that.
So
Yeah,
obviously
contract
Sierra, things went well.
negotiations.
We negotiated.
That's nice.
Yeah, wait a minute. Wait, are you guys getting paid to do this?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not, but obviously someone is.
I don't know. I don't.
How is the new vehicle,
Depends who you
Sierra?
ask. It is fantastic.
That's good.
I don't know what I was thinking driving a rear-wheel drive sports car all winter.
You were thinking that you were being cool.
Yeah.
Fair statement.
You know, I was thinking that I like driving a stick shift, and then I realized that my want to drive a stick shift is very greatly overpowered by my need to have four-wheel drive.
That's fair. Yep, that's
Yeah.
fair. It is January after all.
Yeah.
And we do have winter 8 months of the year.
Yeah, I forgot
Gotcha.
about that when I signed on the Genesis.
Gotcha. So thanks for tuning in today. Today we're going to be talking about project builds. Oh, wait a minute. Getting her done. Should we get a line check on that, Corey? Or
Get her done.
that's not something that I would ever say. Would you?
That's not something that you would say?
No,
Really?
no.
I'd expect that to be in your daily vernacular.
No, it's not. No.
I say get her done.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'll say it.
Now that I
but
do
I
believe.
also say worst case Ontario a lot, and I don't catch that. I
Worst
say that
case
to customers
Ontario.
in the store, and they're like, "What? What was that?" And I was like, "No, worst case scenario."
I feel like you probably also say, oh, for Fox Creek.
Oh yeah. I do say.
Yeah, I don't
that
say
one.
that. I actually use the real words, because yeah, older now.
Because you're a grown up.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
you're a
allowed
dad.
to.
Because you're a dad.
Yeah, exactly.
One day I'll grow up.
How else are my kids going to learn how to swear?
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a very good point.
Exactly. So yeah, winter projects, things you got on the go. Corey, I know you've had some projects in the past. You got anything on the go right now?
You know, for the first year in quite a long time, I don't have any vehicle winter projects at the moment. I had a couple bikes in the past. I had a handful of cars. This year, it may or may not be due to the fact that I now have 4 kids, that my garage is filled with, according to my wife, useful things. But, don't worry about me. I have plenty of things to waste my money on.
I'm in the 1, 2, 3, 4 kid club as well, and yeah, I hear you, loud and clear. Over to Sierra.
I got 1, 2 dogs. Yeah.
there we go.
So, no, I don't have any winter projects. Now that I've got this vehicle figured out, I want to do a couple little things. I want to get an exhaust for it. I want to put an air intake on it, and I want to upgrade the headlights and get the windows and the taillights tinted. But little things like that, just because, yeah, I'm going to daily drive this thing for quite a while.
Probably a
so.
stereo then too, like working
Yeah.
car audio side of it.
I have an amplifier already, and I just got to kind of decide what sub I want to match up with it.
Sure.
And then I think I'm going to have to get Landon in the shop to build a custom box for it, because I don't want to take up too much room in the back with the seats that fold up. I don't want a box to keep the seats from coming up. So I want to see if we can build a box to go where the factory sub was in the side.
Yeah, that's fair. You don't want to
Yeah.
lose dog real estate.
Exactly. Yeah, that's basically.
Or kid real estate, one of the two.
No.
Yeah.
The dogs is the reason why I went and bought this vehicle. So no, I can't sacrifice their precious space in the back.
Yeah, you still have a project. I know it's a bit of a big project though. It's not really like a little project.
Yeah, I've got the Joe Dirt style 81 Camaro T-top.
Right, of course. Yeah.
It's a driver. It works. So we'll do some fine things. It's carbureted. It's pretty clean. But yeah, my goal this summer is to take Chris Gorski, my friend from the West End store. Flip the T-tops down, grab some smokes, listen to some Leonard Skinner, and cruise around.
Flashback to high school.
Well, for him maybe. He's a lot older than I am, but I might wear the wife beater and stuff like that. But,
You might. You will.
Yeah. With a stain on it, but yeah, no, it's the projects never end, right? We're always tinkering away. I mean, I don't think I can remember the last time I didn't have a project in the garage, which you're always trying to do something and get something done, or whatever it is. It's budgets. It's when you have the 4 kids, you wait and budget your money differently, and
Well, it turns into more of a daily driver type thing.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's less about building a race car and more about something that you can, take the kids for a
Go to
ride in, or
school and-
again, it's not the everyday, but when it is nice here, we try to take advantage and drive the toys that we have, and it's good. So today we're going to talk about a few topics, in regards to winter builds and tinkering and working on things that you have sitting around that you might be getting ready for this summer or next summer. The first thing that we're going to talk about is KBS Coatings. Sierra, what do you think?
I think that KBS Coatings, well, I guess the whole idea of like a rust prevention system gets overlooked by a lot of people.
Sure.
I think it might be because people don't realize how easy it is. They think that, to go down to the frame and to get rid of all the rust, like, people assume you need sandblast and things, like, it's
Sure.
going to be a bigger process than it is. And through a company like KBS or like Pour 15, like Corey's going to mention, these guys make it in like which clean, blast, seal, 1, 2, 3 step system. So
I'm glad you practiced that.
yeah.
That's good.
So it's really cool in the way that you can basically start from the bottom and start over completely with a frame that could be 30, 40 years old.
Sure. Yep.
And then you can go through, you can paint it to whatever color you want with the seal step. The blast step uses, it's a pretty high power, like, it's a powerful solution, but it allows it so that there's absolutely, like, it makes it completely non-porous so that there is no chance of any sort of moisture, anything getting underneath that last seal step, so that there is going to be no chance of our rust coming back whatsoever.
Right.
And then they do, like I said, with the seal step, when you do the very final bit of it, they make it, it's a brush-on formula, but you can never see the brush marks. Like, I know when we've done it in the shop, it looks so clean. And they make a ton of different colors. They make a lot of the, like the trademark colors, so like the Hemi orange and the Chrysler blue and the Chevy blue. There is so many different options, so you can make it totally your own.
Cool.
They've got a lot of different offerings that you can use.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, KBS is one option for rust prevention. The other one, of course, if you've heard of KBS, most people have probably heard of Pour 15. Pour 15 was sort of the first off-the-shelf product, very, very similar. Again, sort of a 3-step process, clean, prep, coat, same type of idea. It was actually the guys who came up with the Pour 15 formula originally, who, after a number of years of working there and dealing with it, they figured that they could change the formula, reinvent it, and they actually left and started KBS. So KBS is sort of like Pour 15 2.0. Now, a lot of people say, does that mean it's inherently better? Well, not necessarily. It's not necessarily an improved formula as much as it's a slightly altered formula. Pour 15 is sort of the classic. A lot of people stand by it, works really well. KBS has a couple little differences. Actually, one of the differences that I found doing a little bit of research was that you mentioned painting it on the streaks. That's one thing that actually KBS, the guys who went and engineered it, put a lot of work into, was how the actual formula lays on the coating. Pour 15 has a tendency to have a little bit more of a almost an oily type of substance, which can streak a little bit. KBS tends to get rid of that a little bit. Price-wise, pretty darn similar.
Yeah.
Pour 15 also makes a bunch of different products, engine enamels, caliper paint, floor coating, clear coats, rubberized undercoating, stuff like that. So lots of good options available depending if you're doing prevention or if you're doing rust treatment. You can also use it if you've got rust on your frame or somewhere that you can use it to clean it, get it off, make sure it never comes back.
Right. And I think with both products, from listening to your research and Sierra's research, I know we discussed yesterday that it's not just for the items you list. You could do your barbecue, you could do your garage floor,
Yeah,
you could do.
absolutely.
There's so many different options, and I know, Corey, you also mentioned that it doesn't take a professional.
No.
Right. There's no special tools required. There's no I need to go buy something from Princess Auto to apply this.
Yeah, kind of like what Sarah was mentioning at the start there. I think the biggest thing that people get wrong about the whole product is even when you see it on the shelf, unless you take the time and you read how to use it, people just assume that, like, oh, you got to book a shop and you got to. It's a lot of work. It is very much a DIY garage kind of thing. Totally doable by any good sort of Joe mechanic with a set of tools,
Right.
and a decent paintbrush. It's not too difficult to use.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's kind of the best thing about it is that you don't need a professional, and you can do it yourself on a weekend, and And it might just be something that you're just doing an undercoating on the car you have. You haven't stripped it down, but you just want to do an undercoating for the year and get it to seal properly or whatever it might be. I guess we should mention to some of your viewers, being that you're a lot younger than us, that JB's does not condone the use of KBS products as a Tide Pod challenge or whatever challenges you guys are doing
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Let's just try to make sure that we're not drinking it or snorting it or whatever.
Definitely my generation. Thanks.
You're welcome, Sierra. We don't want you in trouble for anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have them in stock here at JB's. Pour 15, KBS Coatings. Come on in, talk to our sales staff, and we'll help you get the right product for you here when you're doing your project. So we're going to take a quick minute here to run an advertisement for one of our show sponsors, and we'll let Corey take over right now.
Sure. Check out the all-new X-Tang Exceed, a seamless and secure hard-folding matte black truck bed cover designed and engineered to greater expectations. Flush-mounted, hard-folding truck bed covers, full bed access when open, adds a seamless and polished look to your truck when it's closed. Exceed's sleek, good looks are paired with an industry-first secure rotary release latching system for tamper-proof security. Top it off with an Enduracoat moisture-proof covering for added weather resistance, and you're looking at X-Tang's most advanced cover to date. X-Tang Exceed is available at all JB's Power Center locations or online at jbspowercenter.com.
That was actually pretty good.
I like it.
I think I would buy it just on the way you read it.
Really?
Yeah,
I was
like that
expecting for only 46 payments of $29.95.
Yeah. Maybe
But no.
Maybe I should go into contract negotiations.
it's probably a good idea.
It
I feel like
It took
people.
a
I feel like
while.
people do pay people to read ads, right? That's a thing.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
job. Huh.
I don't think here, though.
You'd be on the shopping
Oh,
network.
yeah. You'll see me on the Midnight Shopping Network.
Shopping Network.
Hucking X-Tang.
Yeah. New slap chop guy.
Hey.
Chop your nuts.
Yeah.
Really well
All right.
done though,
Yes.
Corey.
All right. Moving on. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good ad.
Yeah,
guys.
that was excellent. Might want to trademark that, and hey, Steve, we'll get that cut out for Corey to get some money out of that deal.
Hopefully.
There we
yeah.
go.
So we'll move on now. We'll go to another part of a build that I think gets overlooked. We always talk about go fast parts and superchargers, nitrous and exhaust and all those things that make the car sound good and go really fast. And just as important as going fast is being able to stop. I do feel, and again, this is my personal opinion, but that it's the last thing we do to our vehicle when it should be the first. I mean,
Yeah.
the muscle cars, even the factory cars. I think now there's a handful of cars that come out with 800 horsepower. The Hellcat, the Demon, the new Corvettes. But if you look at their braking systems, the rotors and calipers are massive. They're designed to stop that car because of the power it has and the speed that it can attain. So when you're talking about a 70s muscle car or an 80s muscle car or truck, the single piston caliper that was designed for 185 to 200 horsepower, you putting a big block in it that makes 600, probably not going to work well for you if you're flying along and need to stop in an emergency.
Or worse off, the 50-year-old drum brakes.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. With the single cylinder,
Exactly.
master cylinder, yeah. No, it's not going to say unfortunate, but it's definitely something you should look at when you're doing your build of making sure that your braking system is going to work for you, especially if you like to go fast.
Well, I think the fact of the matter is when you're doing a build, even if it's not a high horsepower build, you're taking the car beyond what the manufacturer had spec'd it for, right?
Exactly.
So you've got to compensate for all those things. If you're adding
Exactly.
power, you've got to add stopping power.
Exactly.
Same with handling and stuff like that too.
You bet. And you notice the newer cars that are designed for your car, Corey, the STI, the Subaru. I mean, it's a rally car design. It's designed to handle and corner. It's also designed to stop. When you look at the brakes on there, they're a massive set of brakes. It's not something that we just decided to throw this on during the engineering phases at Subaru. No, they're Brembos now, but I think you said that they're actually a Subaru branded brake on there, but
Yeah, they're a Brembo design, but they're made in house.
right. So I mean, yeah, you can go really fast in your car, but you can also stop when needed.
100%.
Willwood is a brand that we have in store here in stock. There's not much to think about when it comes to buying brakes anymore. There's no make it fit or anything like that. You come on in, give us your make and model.
Pretty much.
we'll look it up for you, and you can buy a front brake kit, you know, and you get to pick the color. I mean, we have the black ones here in front of us for the rotor and caliper, but you can get any color, right, Sarah? I mean, I think you just
color
specify.
wheel is extensive. I never realized how many different options you could get for a brake caliper, especially something like high performance like Willwood. Usually when you think of something like a Willwood brake, you're like, okay, so it's going to be what, black or red?
Right.
And those are the main colors, but if you look into it, you can get lime green, bright pink, bright purple. It's really, really cool. And it's too bad because like there's such a cool upgrade and it's nice to have, but like the amount of times I get somebody coming in the store saying, hey, I want a supercharger or I want to look into a turbo kit versus the amount of times that somebody's like, I need better brakes.
Right.
It's astronomical. Like it's totally an afterthought when it should be the first thought, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point about it being an afterthought. You know, one thing that always kind of kills me seeing cars in parking lots at shows and stuff like that is, you know, there's so much attention to detail with some certain things, and I'm looking over and, oh, they just picked the right wheels and they're spaced right and that. And then you get to the brakes and they're stock brakes.
Yeah, nothing.
And it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
You know, like in my opinion, you know, a lot of people talk about, you know, car parts, certain car parts being, you know, they have sex appeal, they're this, they're nice, they're that. Brakes, I'm just going to go on record, you know, guys, make your brakes sexy again. It's very important. Brakes can be sexy and they should be. Look at this. Look at this caliper. Nice, black. It's all, the finish on it. This is a sexy car part.
Okay, Corey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm right. You're wrong.
I'm not disagreeing, and just for the record, I'd like to sit in this spot next time.
Fair enough.
I'm a little
We'll
concerned that
just
we learned something new about
You know
Corey.
what? I'll keep this on my side.
Yeah,
We'll
sure.
get Corey his own table for
Yeah.
the next one, and we'll go sit in the corner.
But you're right, Corey. It's something that, yeah, you see the nice car, and you even see 22-inch wheels on a truck that are still running the stock
Right.
brakes that came with a
Rinky-dink little caliper. It
with
looks-
a 15-inch. Now you have a 22 that's twice the weight, and yeah, you're expecting.
And actually,
a lot
that's
out
a
of
really
it.
good point. Horsepower aside, if you're doing an upgrade in wheels, a lot of people, usually if they change out the wheels, they'll almost always increase in diameter. You increase in diameter, you're increasing rotating mass, you're increasing weight. Man, all of a sudden, your stock brakes, they're not doing the job anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, stop in here at JB's Power Center, any one of our locations, and let us help you pick the brake package. You know, it could be the front this year, the rear next year, or do them both. They come as kits. We can order them in a 2-piston, a 4-piston. Like we can go as I think up to 6 or even bigger on the calipers. But stop in, let us help you out. We can educate you on the right application for you and what you're doing. But we do stock Willwood, and we can get whatever you need. So I guess we'll move on now. Behind the brakes here, we have what looks to be a carburetor, but we're going to talk fuel injection.
Yeah, it's a funny looking carburetor.
Well, yeah, with the wire sticking out of the back of it. But
Yeah.
I guess the big question now that everybody's asking is, have you made the switch? Are you on board with fuel injection, or are you still a carburetor person? What do you think, Sarah?
Well, I guess asking me is a little bit different because I've only been like into like the car scene heavy here for only, I'd say probably the last 3 years because I've been selling parts. I liked drag racing before that and everything, but like I didn't know until I started here. And until I, got educated and I was able to have a little bit better of an understanding of like what the difference between carburetor and fuel injection is. I really think that fuel injection is the way of the future. But then again, I'm 22. Like I am.
Gotcha.
When you can have another screen in the car and let it just control itself and then you can just drive away, that's awesome. But of course, there's going to be guys that want to tinker with it and still go in and retune it instead of just letting it tune itself. So it's convenience and there's versatility for everybody, I think, depending on what kind of guy you are.
Right. What do you think, Corey?
Well, my first car that I had was carbureted, and don't get me wrong, that car is near and dear to my heart, but boy, in retrospect, what a piece of crap. And part of the problem was I was constantly having to adjust. It's not because the carburetor was bad, it's just at the end of the day, for me, it was my daily driver, right? When
Right.
I'm in high school, having to
Absolutely.
constantly tune and adjust and fix, it seemed fine at the time. Man, now fuel injection all the way. If and when I get back into an old car and it's got a carburetor, off it comes, on goes the fuel injection, hands down.
Yeah. I mean, and that seems to be the way everybody now is looking at it, I think a big part of the problem previously was the cost of fuel injection.
Yeah, of course.
You know, previously, if you wanted to do that switch, you needed to have like $3,000 in the bank to buy it, and then needed to have your friend that was the tuning guy to tune it for you and set it up for you. But now, you know, the Holly, the Phytech, the fast fuel injection kits, they're in the same range as a new carburetor. So, you know, now the option is less about money spent and more about what you want out of it. I mean, it's cool to have a carbureted car that gets 5 miles to the gallon that you get to drive in the city, but take that same car, like my Joe Dirt 81 Camaro, and put one of these on there, and I might actually get 15 miles to the gallon, right? And it makes it more of a driver, and now they are self-tuning, right? So it is more of a plug and play. It is something that, you know, the average weekend guy should be able to get through. I know we've done quite a few in our shop, but the self-tuning portion, I think, has come a long ways.
100%. I think the other thing is there's been a big perception shift in fuel injection over the last maybe 5, 6, 7 years, which was traditionally doing fuel injection on an older motor, carbureted motor, was typically a race application. It was high money, high horsepower, where you needed that reliability of having a lot of fuel. Well, now it's sort of shifted in the opposite direction. Most of this stuff is really geared towards the cruiser. It's geared towards the guy who just wants to fire up his Camaro or whatever it is, his Chevelle, you know, his Dodge on a, I don't know, a Sunday morning, not have to wait for it to burble and gargle to life, not have to pour some fuel in and, you know, dick around with the throttle.
Exactly.
Fire it up, go for a drive, take your wife. She's not going to complain about it. It's not going to smell like gas for 20 minutes.
Exactly. Good call.
You know, pick up an A&W, drive home, and that's your day. And that's really where a lot of that market has been geared towards now, versus a lot of guys still have it in their mind, like, I don't need fuel injection. I'm not racing the car. Yeah, that's not what it's intended for anymore.
Yeah. That great point, Corey. And yeah, we stock all three brands, 3 lines. They are price competitive to a new carburetor. Come on in again to JB's and let one of our associates help you out and find the best application for you. Sierra is a fuel injection expert, so come on into the West End store and have a chat with her, and we'll be sure to get you everything that you need when it comes to fuel injection and making the change if you decide to do so.
Yeah.
I sold my first double sniper kit 2 days ago.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Full force, I like it.
Yeah, it was great. Customer gave me the part number, but like I still sold it.
But that makes you an expert, does it not?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. He's only been back 10 times to get the rest of it, but you are an expert, right?
Fine print, Adel. Come on.
So we'll move on now to sound editing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll go to Corey for some insight.
Perfect. Thanks, Adel. Sound editing, speaking of things that often get overlooked or unconsidered, sound editing is one of those things that a lot of people only associate it with doing a big stereo build, right? And it's a pretty key component to doing a proper stereo build. A lot of guys think if they're not doing a big stereo or even any stereo, they just skip right over sound deadening because, my car comes with factory sound deadening, or why would I need it if I'm not doing stereo?
Yeah.
Well, it actually, stereo or no, it's going to improve the speakers. It's going to improve the ride quality as far as the sound in the interior.
Right.
Even if you know, let's say you're running a classic car, you're doing a restoration, you want to run some classic OEM type speakers, you don't want to do a big stereo build, even still, put it in, those factory speakers are going to improve instantly just by putting that sound deadening material in there. As well as that, it's going to dampen any of the road noise. So all that outside noise that comes into the car from the road, tires, gravel, stuff like that, all that goes away, becomes nice and quiet and tidy. And actually, it's one of the tricks guys use to say, they say that makes an old car sound new. Okay. So often you'll get into an old muscle car, which is pretty prone to rattles and bumps and creaks and cracks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Layered up with some sound deadening, sounds like a 2020 Buick.
Right.
Or something relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reference to old people there, I think, but that's okay.
That was the idea.
Old car makes creaks, so do senior citizens. Get your sound deadening material at JB's Power Center. That was good, Corey. That was really good.
So there's lots of different brands. A lot of people think sound deadening material is, sound deadening material doesn't matter what you get. It's not entirely true. There's a spectrum to it. There's really high-end stuff. There's more budget stuff. One brand that we really like to go with, it's sort of our go-to piece, is Hushmat Ultra. Budget-friendly, really high quality. This is a 2-layer. The primary layer is a viscoelastic polymer. Yes, I wrote that down because there's no way I was going to remember it. So basically what it means is the sound deadening itself forms nicely to the panels. It has stretch, it has some give. So under extreme heat temperature and extreme cold, it's not going to crack or it's not going to deform or anything like that. Then it's got an aluminum foil over top to help outside noise being stopped from coming in. If you want to go a little bit more high end, we also have a brand that's called Sound Mat by SQL. That's actually a 3-layer. They add a closed cell foam on top to further isolate any vibrations and reduce any other noise like that. Yeah, it's a thing that anytime we do a stereo system in JBs and we're installing it, our install manager, Landon, hands down, he uses it every single time. It's an absolute must go to. I think if you asked him, he wouldn't even consider not using it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's just one of those things.
And for installation, I know you said you've done some on some of your previous vehicles. Just pretty simple, like.
Man, it couldn't be easier. So you don't need any prep work. You don't have to prep the surface. There's no tools you need. The sheets come out. Basically, it's got an adhesive side to it. And you peel it off.
Gotcha.
Stick it on your panel. Put it nice, firmly in place. If you want to get real pro, they make like a roller that you can roll it on. Yep.
Gotcha.
You know, I did mine without a roller because I'm cheap, but and it seemed to work just fine. I did the entire interior of my my old WRX, and it was night and day, the difference. You know, that was a pretty old car. That was a '93 JDM that I imported, and it was pretty noisy before. I also had a 3-inch straight exhaust on it, so that was pretty noisy.
Yeah.
That helped quite a bit. You know, as soon as I turned it on the next day, it was like the exhaust was, quieter, but also still sounded good. I didn't have any of that bumpy, noisy crap from outside. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Made a huge difference.
Right on. That's great. Thanks, Corey. I guess we'll move on here to finishing touches with Sierra.
Yeah, I didn't really think too well when I decided that, one of the things I wanted to talk about was finishing touches. And then I went around to a bunch of different people in the building here, and when I say finishing touches, I got a different answer from every person. So I guess that kind of just emphasizes the fact that, like, a finishing touch on a car doesn't have to be anything specifically. Like, for you, it might be getting some nice valve covers that are nice black powder coat, so it's the first thing you see when you open the hood with the nice polished Chevy logo on it. Or your finishing touch might be finishing your old car and throwing in a head unit with Bluetooth.
Right,
totally.
Then you can go in and you can have your old cruiser car, but you still have the convenience of being able to pair your phone and listen to your music. For another guy, doing a finishing touch could be something like, like I said, like the interior stuff. So like when you're driving, you get like the convenience factor. So when you have like a head unit with Bluetooth, or if you have like find a nice new steering wheel with a nice grip on it, so it's something that you'd want to hold on to for a long period of time while you're driving, or maybe like a new B&M shifter kind of thing for your old car, or even a shift knob. Could really change the feel of it, like when you're just something that you're doing all the time, shifting back and forth. Like you put a new knob on it, feels really cool. It also could be like car audio, because of course muscle car guys, they're working on their cars through the winter or whatever, and they're focusing usually on either the engine or like the body of the car. And something that totally gets overlooked is, when they're driving down the highway, you want to take it from Edmonton to Red Deer for a car show on the weekend. You're driving for an hour and 25 minutes. You're like, wow, it's pretty quiet in here. As much as you like listening to your own car, but for a long drive, it can get to your head a little bit. So putting in a set of speakers with just like a basic head unit just to kind of make it your own. Finishing touch for anybody could be anything. Like it really could be, whether it's a cool set of like the color match Taylor spark plug wires. I was watching the Rust Valley Restorers last night, and I was watching the episode where their young girl that they have there, she wanted to redo her Chevy truck. She's got a cool square body, and she ordered in the hot pink Taylor spark plug wires. I thought it was super cool. Made a big mud truck, but it was all pink. I thought it was sweet. That thing looked super mean, but super girly at the same time.
Right.
So little things like that. And then, she got herself like the little pink Chevy bow tie. Just something that she had that brought it all together and made it her own kind of personal build. It could be anything, depending on who you talk to. Whether it's interior or something like doing wire loom under the hood, and like once you get everything all finished, you're sitting there looking at it like, what do I do? Go get some wire loom or something and just make it nice and clean so that what you're looking at is just what you want to see. Like it's not everything else over top.
Yeah, those are the things that really tend to catch my eye when I'm walking around car shows or parking lot shows, stuff like that. The things that always, for me, take it from like, oh, that's a pretty cool car, to like, ooh, wow, it's the detail work, right? You know that a guy spent a lot of time building it in his garage, busting his butt, splitting his knuckles, and it's those little things. It's he picked out that steering wheel with that color and that stitching. It's that shift knob. It's this. Those are the things that for me, that's unique to him, 100%. Nobody picked that part for him. And you could have two of the exact same cars lined up, and they could have similar sort of performance parts. Guaranteed, though, those little details, those are what sets them off and makes them really unique. And like that guy, his car, no one's going to have another one like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the biggest thing is making it your own.
Yeah, totally.
That's what the final touches on a car. Even if you buy a new Corvette, you come into a store and you want to make it your own. You're going to try to do something that sets it apart from everybody else. But yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I mean, doing those small things at the end makes it yours and gives you more pride in your build and in your car. And it's an extension of your personality. So why wouldn't you want to make it your own?
It really, really is. And I think that, a lot of car people will understand what we're saying and resonate when we say that, for a lot of guys, your car, your project, your build is very much a canvas. And you start with a bit of a blank canvas, whether it's a broken down junkyard find or whether it's something you got off Craigslist. Yeah. Either way, you start with something, you pour your heart into it, and at the end of the day, when you're all done and you step back, there is no better feeling. Actually, someone once said to me, I came into JB's and I parked my car. This is when I had my RX-7, and I got out and I was walking towards the door, and I stopped and I turned around and I looked at it, and someone said, that somebody loves their car when they can't leave it without turning around to look at it. And I think that's really true. When you get that final sense of like, oh, that's mine, I did that.
Sure.
There's nothing better. And it's all those little things that go to create that last piece.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I turn around and look at my Explorer. It's completely stock, but it's mine, and I love it. So yeah,
Why not?
A car is a total extension of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's why most regular people like nice, clean Chevys, and Adel likes Dodge. So
It's no car, no car. We'll go there, Sierra. But. So speaking of finishing touches, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. We appreciate the likes, the comments, and from myself, Sierra, and Corey, we hope to see you guys again. More money next time, I hope, Corey.
One can hope. One can hope.
But thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you guys again.
Thanks for tuning in to JB's Powercast.
Check out jbspowercenter.com for the latest updates.
You can catch JB's Powercast at jbspowercenter.com, YouTube, and Facebook. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. JB's Powercast is a JB's Power Center production and is produced by Stephen MD and Sean Landsman.